How you doing? Welcome. Welcome to the live, y'all. Hopefully this works for us. I hope this works. Let me know if you can hear me, if you are coming into the live. I think you can, y'all. This is going to be an interactive live. I wanted to bring my live over here that I had going on TikTok, which I will be live back on TikTok again. But I just wanted to come over here and continue the conversation because also, guys, please, when you come in the chat, let me know if you can hear me because I know that I am multitasking. I am washing dishes, getting ready to cook, and yeah, that's what we're doing today. And I also wanted to just discuss this housing crisis, because I really am like, I know that we have people that none of this is going to affect. There are still lots of people that can afford their mortgages, they can afford their rent, and this inflation that is happening hasn't reached the doorsteps of everyone, right? But it's going to be reaching a lot of people, guys. Literally, a family of 4 in the state of Maryland, in order to live comfortably, would need to earn $260,000 or more. Okay? And that's to be able to pay for all of your basic living needs, extracurricular activities for the children, to be able to save money, to be able to invest, to be able to travel. You would need to earn, a family of 4, right? And this isn't even going to put you in the wealthy bracket. This is just going to put you on the upper middle class bracket. $260,000 solo or combined income to actually live comfortably as a family of 4, okay? There was stats that went out last week that said any family of 4 under 140,000 in today's world is actually living below the median needed to live a comfortable life, okay, in the DMV, okay? So as we can see, the cost of living is raising the cost of life all the way around. How much money you once needed to be able to have a family, that is long gone, right? I think a lot of you probably have seen the stats where they show that now the average age of a homeowner is 40 years old. That's the oldest that it has been ever in our country. So not only are people waiting longer to get married, but people are actually waiting longer to purchase, okay? And although that might not seem alarming, but here's the thing. If you wait until your 40s or 50s to purchase your first home, you're pretty much just at that point purchasing to purchase. But when you purchase a house like in your mid-20s, early 30s, that is so much time that you are able to capitalize off of equity when you purchase your home knowing your numbers, okay? You gotta know your numbers, guys. One of the worst things as a realtor for me to see is people losing their house to foreclosure, and especially in today's world, because even though it's still a buyer's market, a lot of sellers have tons of equity in their house, right? But what a lot of people do, okay, and I hope that this isn't you, so if this video finds you, the algorithm brought it to you not by coincidence, okay? If you are already living in a house and you're struggling to pay your mortgage, please don't wait until the last moment. Hey, guys, y'all are too loud. Please don't wait until the bank is knocking at your door to contact a realtor and put your house on the market. Number one, it's taking more time to get properties sold because it is a buyer's market. Number two is if you allow your house to go into foreclosure and you lose your house to the bank, there goes your equity, guys. I was chatting with some students in my home buying 101 And a lot of people didn't realize that equity was not real money, right? Because you always hear people say, oh, you want to own a house so that you can have equity and you can capitalize off of your equity. But what a lot of people didn't know is that equity is not real money until you sell your house, okay? So equity doesn't count until the home is sold, really, because even when you refinance your house, you're not going to get all of the equity out of your house, okay? When you refinance your house, I think they allow you to, like, borrow is basically what you're doing, up to 80%, okay? So if you have $100,000 in equity, you refinance and you want to pull some equity out, or you do a home line of equity, you're only able to work with $80,000. Versus you have $100,000 and you decide to sell your house, like what happened to me with my first property. I sold that house. After 2 years, I had $113,000 worth of equity, okay? Once my real estate fees and the amount that I paid out to the buyer's agent were paid out, which I think I paid the buyer's agent $13,000, and I owed HOA, I had some other fees that I had to pay. I ended up walking away from that with $90,000. $90,000 was deposited into my bank account at the closing of my home, okay? That was the true equity that I was able to walk away. When I decided to sell my house, I saw that I had about $110,000 in equity, right? So I was like, okay, things are getting tough. I would love to hold on to this property. I never bought that house being my forever home because it was in Stafford, and I wasn't finna live in Stafford forever. It's just not the area that screams forever for me. But it did seem like a nice area for my kids to finish high school, right? So that's why that was the intentions of the house, was buying it so that they can live there. They were starting in middle school and they would be able to go through high school. So when I saw, and this was pre-pandemic, okay, because everything that happened in the housing market during the COVID era, that was all brand new, okay? The very, very low interest rates, we had never seen that in the history of real estate. So, long story short, those 2% interest rates made the market go crazy. Everybody and their mama who was getting approved was buying a house, and as they should, because you were basically gonna make free money, okay? Anyone that purchased, and they purchased wisely, they didn't buy a house over their means. They bought a house that, you know, is still able to appreciate and actually make equity. Those people right now are sitting pretty. Okay, so I chose to sell my house because by 2021 the pandemic had pushed my house up to $550,000. Okay, I literally bought my home for $450,000. When I ran the comps, it looked like my house was only worth about $515,000, $520,000. But because it was such a competitive market, and I listed my house initially for $515,000 because I just wanted to get it sold. I just wanted a quick sale. I make $100,000. I wasn't gonna, you know, do it all the way at market value because I could have listed it for $520,000, but I ended up listing it at $515,000. And I did that strategically because I wanted to get an offer quickly, okay? I just wanted out of the house. So I lowered the price, hoping that I would get multiple offers. It worked. It worked, but here's the caveat. Here is the caveat. And for anyone that is trying to sell their home, this is where you need to listen to me because I'm giving you free game. I do this all the time in my Home Buying 101 group. I do this all the time over on TikTok, but I'm giving it to y'all for free here, okay? It worked, me lowering my price of $5,000 under the market value in 2021. But here's the thing, even if I would have listed my house at $525,000 in 2021, it was an extreme, never seen before seller's market. Okay, anyone who was in the market to buy a house knows how crazy it was. A house would go up on the market, and within an hour there would be like 10 or 15 offers. Crazy seller's market. Okay, so that strategy of lowering your price below market value works, and it works in all markets. But the aggressive rate of return in which I got, meaning I could have gotten up to 565,000, but I took the first offer. I had two offers. One was for 565, the other one was 550. The people that were buying my house 550, they didn't want any home inspection. They waived the appraisal, and if their bank would not allow them to waive the appraisal, they were in agreement to pay an escalated amount above whatever the house appraised for to get to the 550. Okay, very important. Okay, y'all. So I decided to go with that offer because that offer meant that I was closer to, I was guaranteed to get my goal, which wasn't even 550. I really only wanted like 515 for my house, but I took the 550, no home inspection, no appraisal. It was a very clean, straight to the point, 30-day close, just because their lender needed that time to process the loan. I let them do a home inspection. You know, I'm not crazy. Hey, but if they would have written an offer without a home inspection, baby, I would have taken the offer without the home inspection. And if you don't understand why this is more important, and you're like, Vicky, why would you take an offer $15,000 less than the highest offer? Because the offer that was $15,000 less was way more guaranteed than the offer that was at 565. The people at 565, they did not want to buy my house as is. They wanted an opportunity to do a home inspection, and not one for information purposes only. They most definitely, if they would have found anything that they wanted fixed or repaired or asked for a credit, they were going to try to ask me for a credit. Okay, so that just because they offer 15,000 over doesn't guarantee that I'm going to get that $15,000 over. On top of that, the buyer also needed closing help. Okay, they needed me to pay 3% closing help. Okay, that right there eats the $15,000 that they were offering above the highest offer. That's why I took the offer at 550, because that buyer was not asking for closing help. They got the home inspection for information purposes only, and they agreed to pay the difference in the appraised value. If for whatever reason the appraisal did not come in at 550, they would pay that difference out of pocket. Because you guys do understand that when somebody buys a house using a loan, the bank is going to do an appraisal, which is great. All right, I personally would never recommend that you waive an appraisal, because that appraisal is going to give you the market value for the house from when you're buying it, and the bank isn't going to loan you more than what the house appraises for. Okay, so I hope you're following what I'm putting down. This is some lessons. If you're someone that's trying to buy a house in the near future, this is the type of information that I discuss with my Home Buying 101 students. And your ticket into that group is purchasing the Home Buying 101 ebook, which I have linked in my bio here. And I'll make sure to put a link in this video for anyone that wants to buy the ebook. When you purchase that ebook, you will have access to all of my home buying courses and the one-on-one calls where I help people like this. I answer questions and we go through situations together, because the one thing about real estate is that it's ever changing. Okay, that entire play that I just gave y'all, that worked in 2021. All right, we're about to go into 2026. The play to be successful buying or selling in real estate in 2026 is completely different from what it was just 5 years ago in 2021. Okay, real estate changes. That's why if you got an appraisal done, or you got someone that did a market analysis on your property, whatever number we give you, whatever value you get, that's only good for 30 to 60 days. The real estate market changes every 30 days. The value of your home changes every 30 days. This is going to bring us back to the discussion about equity, okay? Because that's what we were talking about this morning in my Home Buying 101 live that I did this morning on TikTok. We were talking about how equity is only realized when you actually sell your home. And because the market changes so much, equity that you think that you have isn't real until you sell your house. And if you do a market analysis today, January 1st, you want to ask your realtor to do another market analysis for you, because there could be some changes in the value of your home. If for whatever reason the value of your house goes down, you're going to lose equity, okay? So, like, for example, if your house is worth $500,000 today, but let's say by April 1st, the prices in your neighborhood, home prices, they have been closing at 480. The 3 or 4 nearest homes in your neighborhood or in your surrounding areas that are more likely like your house, they're all closing at 480,000. Well, guess what? Your $500,000 house is now only worth 480,000. That's how home prices get pushed down. That's how people lose value in their home when houses are sold below value. And you might be like, well, why is someone going to sell their house less than what it's worth, right? Because it's costing them money to keep it. Remember, I started this whole video saying, if you are a seller, don't allow yourself to lose all of your equity because you waited too long to reach out to a realtor. The money in your home is only real money when you cash out. Now, you can do a HELOC, you can refinance, take that money out and flip it into another property. But again, it's never going to be 100% of the equity that you truly have, because the bank does not do that, okay? They only do up to 80% whenever you're doing a HELOC or a refinance. So, very important to know. A lot of people hear the talk about equity and they're sitting on houses that have $100,000, $200,000 worth of equity, and they think they're rich, you know? It's not like that. It's not like that, y'all. That money is going to fluctuate. As it goes up, it can come down. It's just like the stock market. Stocks can be value. You can buy in at 12 cents and you buy like 500 shares at 12 cents. And you're like, oh my God, I'm a millionaire. Boom, the market crashes and the stock goes down and goes down to 9 cents a share. Well, you just lost 3 cents a share and you bought 500, okay? All right. So it's the same way in real estate. You buy a house at $550,000. The market in your area doesn't do so well. People are not paying what the house is worth, what the homes are worth. Now your house is only worth $80,000. And if you just bought that house, that means that if you go to sell the house, you're going to be upside down. Okay? In those type of cases, people sometimes write it out and lose their house to the bank. There was no equity for them to lose, y'all. If your house is upside down and you lose it in foreclosure or a short sale, oh well. You weren't going to be able to make any money selling it the traditional way. That's why back in 2008, people were literally walking away from their homes because the value of houses had went down dramatically, okay? So they couldn't sell them. There wasn't going to be any equity anyway. So those people walked away from their homes. Now, in today's world, you got equity still. You got equity. A majority of people have equity still in their home. And the best way for you to know that is to get a realtor to do a market analysis. I do them for free. On top of offering a Home Buying 101 ebook, I also offer free one-on-one strategy calls. And you could book a real estate strategy call, or you could just book a general life strategy call. You just need someone that isn't going to pass judgment and help you to plan out your life. Maybe you're not quite ready to buy a house, you don't really want to do the whole, ebook community and learning and things like that, but you just want to talk to me and help me and have me help you map out some things in your life, I also offer those one-on-one calls, $45 or $47 for an hour. I will have that link here, or you can book a real estate call. On that real estate call, you'll tell me what your real estate needs are, and we'll put together a plan for you. Okay? And if you do use me as your realtor down the line, it doesn't matter if you don't buy a house until 5 years from now, I will refund you the $47 for our strategy call if you end up purchasing a home and I am your realtor. Got it? I will have that linked here in this video. But let's get back to what it would look like in today's market. Why I don't see a lot of people losing their houses like they did in 2008. Contrary to popular belief, we are not in a state in the market, even though a lot of people are losing their jobs right now, cost of living is extremely high. It looks like we may be revisiting 2008, but what's going to happen is going to be more of an affordability issue. In 2008, the reason why a lot of people lost their homes and everybody was upside down is because a lot of people were given loans who were not qualified, right? And quite simply right now, Fannie Mae is now going back to they've always done manual underwriting depending on the file, but they have brought that back, which means if you don't have the credit score, but they can see that you've been paying your bills on time every month and, you have a steady income and you earn more than enough, they more than likely will manually give you the approval because they're going back to that manual underwriting again. And they've been doing this for years, which leads me to believe, why even make it a headline if there have been banks and loan officers that do this anyway? Because we also were discussing redlining today in that call. And I was telling people, bruh, what's happening right now is not redlining. It's just not. The industry, there may be some underlying discrimination and racism. I'm not going to say that there isn't. But when it comes to getting people pre-approved for a home loan, that benefits the entire community, the entire economy, guys. We ain't got time to be worried about race no more. Literally, it's all about dollars and cents right now. Okay? And if you so happen to come across a lender or a bank that you think is racist, or you think that they're not treating you fairly in the world we live in, take your business elsewhere. You shouldn't want to do business with somebody who don't want to do business with you anyway. But when it comes to affordability and the housing crisis that we're experiencing today, somebody left a comment on my video and was like, oh, it's because of redlining. I don't think it's because of redlining. It just wouldn't make sense in today's world. Loan officers, title companies, all the people involved in the real estate transaction, we can't afford to be picking and choosing who we gonna work with by race. And if you do that, then you just deserve the little bit of money that you're gonna get, especially in the DMV. You cannot be racist in the DMV and think that you're going to live a comfortable life and not want to, hold on, my knife is not going in where it goes. Okay. And not want to approve somebody. Now, it does happen. So that's why homeowners, if you are going to be renting out your house, understand that if you have a realtor or a lender that is discriminating against the person trying to buy your house, get rid of them people, because they're just costing you money. Every day your house sits on the market without a contract, that's money that you got to put out. That's money that you're going to have to spend on utilities, HOA, taxes, and the mortgage that you're still going to be paying. You understand? And the same reasons why I don't think that banks are really doing those type of things in today's world, because everyone is suffering. The real estate industry sales have been low, the lowest that they've been in the last 10 years, okay? This market is rough. You got title companies that are closing down. You got home inspection companies that are closing down or having to lay people off. Like, everyone involved in the real estate market is feeling it, right? I forgot what the number was, but literally it was like only like 13% of realtors actually sold a home in 2025. You know what I'm saying? And a realtor selling a house, whoop-de-doo, right? Because we got to split our commission every which way. You still got to pay taxes off of that, and you got to pay your real estate dues. So whoop-de-doo that 13% of realtors actually sold a home. That leaves a lot of people who are not generating income, okay? So racism doesn't really have a room in a thriving economy. I'm not telling y'all that it don't happen. I follow a creator that her and her husband, they actually are in Canada. And like, you know, she's a pretty wealthy creator. Hey, Maya, welcome to the live. Hey, Ebony, welcome to the live. Hi. So I follow this creator, and we're just talking about like discrimination in the housing market, because on my home buying video that I did, this guy was like, he thinks that all of this is because of redlining, like affordability and the housing issues in Maryland and in the DMV. And I'm like, no, it's not about redlining, because people can't afford to be discriminating people in this market. But I follow a creator that's in Canada, and she was looking to rent a house, and it was like $5,000. She has the money. She has the proof. She had everything she needs. They got the credit score, everything. You know, they're in Canada. I don't even think they use a credit score in Canada, but they would be so excited to meet her over the phone. When she would get to the property, she always got ghosted after the realtors saw that it was a black family, okay? So I am not saying that racism in real estate does not exist. But what I am saying that in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, they ain't got anybody that's wasting their time on being racist. Just go someplace else, because the market is so difficult for homeowners right now. You would be doing your clients a disservice to turn away someone that is fully qualified simply because of the color of their skin. You're going to lose out on a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. Hold on. So, hold on, y'all. So, that's why I don't think it's happening here. So, you don't think race plays a part in the loan process and the amount you are able to get? Well, now that's different, girl. I do think that race plays a part, because when I was buying my house when I was single, I had to go through 4 different lenders, okay? It took 4 lenders for me to get approved. But I didn't have the greatest credit score. So you also have to think about what your credit score is. If we're looking at a vanilla piece of paper versus another vanilla piece of paper, and what is vanilla? That is someone that has a 700 credit score or higher. They are earning $150,000 or more a year. And they have been on their job for 5+ years. This is like an excellent profile. We're not even talking about if they're single, if they got kids, or if they are married or not, right? Just high credit score, high income, stable job. I do believe that in that situation, the person of color, the loan officer or the underwriter may ask them for a little bit more when they're going through the underwriting process. It doesn't mean that they're not going to get approved, but they will ask them for a little bit more to prove that they can actually qualify for what they are asking for, right? I don't think that discrimination works in the sense that they're not going to give you the loan because they need to get paid. If the less loans that they are issuing, the least amount of money that they're making. Ava, get out of that window. Ooh, you're going to get in trouble. You guys broke another blind. Goodness gracious. Okay, so I do believe racism exists there. But when we're coming into about the amount that you're able to get, it is all perspective based off of your credit profile and your debt to income ratio. 99% of the time, they're not going to turn you away. I promise. And in my situation, when I felt like I was being treated unfairly or I didn't like the response that I was getting, I went and I found another lender. You're not, you're not married to the first lender that gives you a pre-approval. You can switch your lender up as long as they're able to get the house closed. That's all you got to be worried about. Okay. Thank you for the hearts, girl. Let me get some water. I'm over here dying. But yeah, I wanted to have this conversation here with so that it lives on Facebook, because I was like very alarmed at how many people didn't really understand what equity is, and like they thought that it was just like their money and they could pull it out at any time. And I was like, no. we got to dive deep in on that. Thank you. So I wanted people to know that, because I know that a lot of people are going through whatever, and we're all going through stuff. If you know that your house has value and you are struggling to make payments, you're struggling to keep it up, please reach out to someone that you know, like, and trust, that is a realtor that can help you navigate this situation, because the banks are no longer giving people time. Like, they're no longer going to do a forbearance. Okay. What do you call that? Like the COVID protection, where they were letting people do deferments, all that stuff is done. Once you exert your time, that's it. They're going to start the foreclosing process. And if they foreclose on you, that's it. You lost all the money. And let me help someone who may have been struggling with the fact that they might, be struggling to pay their bill or struggling to pay their mortgage. It is much better that you act responsibly and contact a realtor and get your home sold for as much money as you can, so that if you are able to walk away with some equity, you got something to show for it. You don't want to be a part of the woe is me. Don't be a part of the low vibrational train. Because I promise you, if we sat down and looked at the case by case scenario of people who lose their home, 95% of them lost their home because they did not act soon enough. They did not make the necessary moves soon enough. Okay? And before we go over to another topic, let me just end this with this. I was speaking to a seller this morning. He said, Vicky, I'm going to hurry up. I got to work on some things, but I want to get my house on the market by January, early February at the latest, because he's noticing that a lot of people in his neighborhood are starting to fix things up, and they're talking about selling their home this summer. That was a very wise observation, because that's precisely how it is every year. Majority of the sellers are like, oh, I'm going to sell my house in the spring. The people that sell their house in the spring are going to come off a little bit better than the people that sell their house in the summer. The longer you wait to put your house on the market, y'all, we are already in a buyer's market, and we already have more than enough inventory out there in the DMV. If you get an influx of houses for sale, there goes your equity, because buyers are going to be able to negotiate the situation. Are you okay? Okay, Ava, get off of the Christmas tree, sweetheart. Okay? I gotta block that call, y'all. But yeah, don't wait too late. Don't wait until the bank is knocking at your door to come take your house. Make a move. Okay? This is for my homeowners. If you want to book a strategy call, I'll make sure that the link is in this video. $45. And again, any fee that you pay, you will be refunded if you use me to sell your house or if you use me to buy your house. But if you just want like a strategy, you want someone to hear your situation and help you put a plan together, just book the call. It's $47. And I am going to make sure that you walk away with a plethora of information, and you will be prepared for whatever the next step in your life is. But I want people to rise above this conversation of losing your house. You don't lose your house. A house is not like a cute little trinket that you misplaced and you lost it. Baby, that is an investment. That is something that you worked very hard for. So therefore, you're going to work hard to sell it with integrity. Okay? Sell it with some integrity so that you don't walk away losing all of your money. And I can't remember if I was talking about this today. Ava, get off of him. Can't remember if I was talking about this on this video or if it was in my Home Buying 101, but I just want to circle back. I gave the play on how I sold my house and why lowering the price worked. But I just want to let you know that if you are in the market of selling your house, I'm not going to tell you what to do, because if you got a lot of equity, you can lower the price of the value of your home as low as you need to get it to get an offer, right? And you can still walk away with some money. You're okay. Ava, put something else on TV. You can lower it wherever you need it to be so you can get the home sold if you have enough equity, okay? But if you're someone, let's say you bought a house for girl, y'all, my little nice thing is so picky. Okay, so if you bought a house that's like 700,000, you bought it for 700,000, but now it's like not selling at 700,000, so you have it on the market. Hey guys, you know what? I bought some cake, and who's ever quiet watching TV gets the cake. Nope, you gotta sit down and be quiet. Don't be lowering that price where make sure you know your numbers, guys. Because if you sell your house, if you sell your house for less than what it's worth, you're still liable to pay your realtor. Okay, you're still liable to pay the difference that is owed to the bank. So make sure that at whatever price you sell your home for, you have enough to pay off the bank. And that's pretty much what the bank is going to do when they foreclose on people's houses. They just lower the price of the house so that they could get back what they need. Okay, so that's a little nugget. That's a little nugget for anyone that needs to sell their house. And the other thing we were talking about that that got us all on the topic of redlining was Prince George's County opening up. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live. Hey, no fighting. Yeah, the other thing we were talking about is Prince George's County opening up the wait list. Hey! Opening up the wait list for Section 8. Y'all, I think that that's the most, okay, it's great because a lot of people need housing assistance right now. But how is opening up a wait list that they already... Ava and Isaiah? Oh, Ava, change the channel. They already have been working off the last wait list since 2015. And they're only allowed to put 5,000 people on that wait list at a time. So how does this help anybody? How does this help the affordability crisis in not only Prince George's County, but all over the country? And let's just stick to the state of Maryland. People are moving from the state because they cannot afford to live here. Because it's so expensive to live in Maryland, y'all. It's like, what do we do? What do we do, right? So anyways, I made a bunch of videos about that. I just want to tap in so you can see my face, see me. And if you guys like this video, let me know if you're watching the replay. If you have any other questions, I will have a link to my Stan store in the comments below. I will also link each individual product and service that I have available. So if you need me for anything that I have open for you guys on the Stand Store, you'll have it right there, okay? And I think that later on, once I'm done with my TikTok live, if I can, I will come back and we will do a digital marketing chat, okay? Because that's something that I have been also looking into, is getting into faceless digital marketing. Guys, in today's world, you got to learn how to pivot, okay? You got to learn how to pivot, and you got to learn how to diversify your income, okay? So we'll talk about that if I come back later today. If not, we'll talk about it on another video. Bye.